And it brings me to this thing that happened not too long ago where Kevin Hart broke your stand-up box office record.
What record did he break?
He said he broke some record of your box office sales for stand-up.
I don't know. What did he break? I know, but Raw is still the #1 box office concert movie in history, so I don't know what records nobody broke.
In 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show, there being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation at any comedy club.
Eddie, I don't like talking to you about stand-up no more. I don't do it no more. I'm not falling for the trap. I'm sick of you. I'm sick of you. I'm not doing it no more. I'm not doing it. Every time.
Sucker. The reason I don't do ain't Big Tigger. I get my blood tested every 3 months for the last 15 years. All narcotic tests have come up 0.00%. For a 5-year period, every single movie that Kevin Hart did was a movie that had been on my desk. That all I had said was, just, can we take some of this step and fetchy shit out?
I've talked to him. Eddie, what the f are you doing? Get on stage. I don't know, man. Maybe.
You got more dye in that beard than Diddy wears.
All right, that's enough.
I know.
That's enough.
I seen him. He shows me behind the curtain.
That's a fucking enough. All right, I'm gonna edit this out.
But still,
Put a
note on it. You can.
The internet didn't just react, it exploded. When Eddie Murphy publicly called Katt Williams jealous of Kevin Hart, it didn't sit right with a lot of people, because something about it felt off. Eddie defending Kevin? After previously checking him over those same record-breaking claims? That's where the confusion started. And the backlash came fast. People weren't just disagreeing, they were questioning motives. Why no? Why this side? Because when Katt calls Kevin an industry plant, he's labeled jealous. But when Kevin makes bold claims about records, that's just confidence. It didn't add up. And the more people looked at it, the less it made sense. But here's where it gets deeper. This didn't start with Eddie. This tension, this divide, it's been building for years. Long before the headlines. Long before the interviews. Back when a different conversation started taking shape in Hollywood. A pattern people didn't fully understand at the time, but couldn't ignore either. Because one by one, some of the biggest names in comedy were being pushed into the same lane. The same roles. The same image. And it raised a question that never really went away. Was this all coincidence, or something more controlled? That question got louder after Dave Chappelle spoke openly about it. Connecting dots most people weren't even looking at yet. And, from that moment on, this stopped being just about comedy. It started to feel like something else. Something bigger. Something that doesn't just happen, but gets shaped.
I mean, I'm a conspiracy theorist to a degree. Like, when I connect dots that maybe shouldn't be connected, I don't know. But certain dots, like when I see that they put every black man in the movies in a dress at some point in their career, I'll be connecting them down like, wow, these brothers gotta wear a dress. This happened to me. I'm doing a movie with Martin.
Yeah.
The movie's going good. So I walk in the trailer, I'm like, man, this must be the wrong trailer because there's a dress in here. They come in, it's the writer comes in. I think he's the writer. He's like, Dave, listen, we got this hilarious scene where Martin's sneaking out of jail. So he disguises you.
The time when Dave Chappelle spoke about it, people didn't just listen. They started paying attention. Because for the first time, someone inside the system was pointing at something most people had ignored. And it didn't take long for that conversation to spread, even reaching Kevin Hart. At first, his response was clear. He said he would never do it. No matter the money. No matter the opportunity. A line drawn. A boundary. But then, just months later, he crossed it. On SNL. In a dress. A wig. Playing the exact role he once said he wouldn't. And that's where things started to feel inconsistent. Because it wasn't just a change. It was a complete reversal. From never to doing it on one of the biggest stages possible. And moments like that, they don't just get ignored. They get noticed. Because when someone sets a boundary that strong and then breaks it that quickly, it raises a different kind of question. Not just why it happened, but what changed behind the scenes.
Great comedian said that, you know, in the industry, they tried to make him wear a dress. Have you ever ran into that with scripts? And is that something that, you know, you wouldn't do, you know, for
I definitely haven't ran into to put on the dress. I mean, you know, you have to have boundaries. You have to have limits that you refuse to cross. You know, for me, I know what they are. They've yet to been challenged. So, you know, I don't have to speak on them. I was asked to dribble a basketball on the talk show this morning.
You look
said
good
no to that. Not that was addressed, but I was like, no, I'm gonna look stupid. At the end of the day, you gotta know that you're a brand. I'm a brand. You need to protect your brand at all times. When things happen that can possibly affect your brand, your brand can be diminished, and you don't want that to happen. So, protecting my brand is definitely a priority.
Pope is 9-year-old Oscar nominee Kevin Wallace.
Wow. I don't think anyone saw this one.
After the backlash, Kevin Hart didn't stay quiet. He responded, publicly, saying he made that decision himself, that nobody forced him, that he's his own boss. Simple explanation. Clean. Controlled. But for some people, that didn't settle the question. Because the issue wasn't just what he did. It was how fast everything changed. And that's where Katt Williams stepped in. When asked about it, he didn't hold back. Not disrespectful, but direct. Pointing at the same contradiction everyone else was starting to notice. And that's when things turned. Because instead of brushing it off, Kevin responded again. This time, personal. On The Breakfast Club, he went straight at Katt, called him a failure, questioned his choices, even blamed his situation on his lifestyle. And just like that, this wasn't about a dress anymore. It became something else, something deeper. Because when a conversation shifts that quickly, from a simple question to a personal attack, it doesn't feel like a debate. It feels like pressure. And pressure like that usually means something hit a nerve.
Kevin doesn't have to worry about what people are going to say about him wearing a dress because of the long line of dress-wearing people before him. So now we have Big Mama's house 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
I've never seen Medea in a pantsuit. I think she wears dresses. So now I'm saying, why are we picking on poor little Kevin Hart? Because it was his turn next.
Okay.
My frustration with Katt Williams comes from, you keep pointing at Hollywood. Hollywood this, the white man, this, and this. When do you take responsibility for your actions? You became a risk to the studios, which is why the studios stopped with you.
Why was he a risk?
He chose you.
After all the back and forth, Katt Williams disappeared. No posts, no responses, nothing. Almost like he stepped away from the noise and waited until 2024. That's when he came back, not quietly, but on one of the biggest platforms possible, Club Shay Shay. And this time, he didn't hold anything back. Because what he said wasn't just criticism anymore. It was accusation. He claimed Kevin Hart didn't just rise through talent. He was placed. That deals had already been made. That doors were already open. That the path was already cleared. All before the public ever saw it. And according to him, this wasn't just about success. It was about exchange. Fame for something else. Power for something behind the scenes. And whether people believed it or not, that moment changed everything. Because now, this wasn't just a rivalry anymore. It started to feel like a bigger question. Not just how Kevin made it, but what it really takes to get there. And then, something didn't add up. Because after all of this, Katt Williams and Kevin Hart ended up on the same stage. At a Netflix event. Face to face. After years of tension, it didn't explode. It didn't escalate. It settled. Too easily. Too clean. And that's where the question changes. Because moments like that don't just happen. Not after everything we just saw. Unless they were meant to.
In 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show, there being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation at any comedy club. He already had his deals when he got here. Have we heard of a comedian that came to LA and in his first year in LA, he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading? No, we've never heard of that before that person or since that person. What do you think a plant is? That's why, you know what the #1 job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is? It's to act like it didn't happen. They all do the same job. Why do you think Gary Owen can't cross over and he already white and been in comedy for 25?
Then Katt Williams took it even further. He brought up a moment that, according to him, changed everything. A scene he refused to do. During Friday After Next, he was asked to play out something he didn't believe was funny. Something he felt crossed the line. And he said no. Simple. A decision based on principle. But according to him, that decision came with a cost. Because after that, things shifted. Not publicly, not immediately, but behind the scenes. Opportunities disappeared. Calls slowed down. Projects he was lined up for suddenly weren't his anymore. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. Because he claims those same opportunities didn't just vanish. They moved to Kevin Hart. Projects he had already seen. Roles he had already turned down. Now landing somewhere else. With fewer questions. Fewer objections. And if that's true, then this wasn't just about one scene. It starts to look like a pattern. One person says no, another steps in. One resists, another adapts. And over time, that difference doesn't just shape careers. It decides them.
The truth of the matter is, the Money Mike in the original script got in the bathroom, and that's what Ricky Smiley was okay with. Katt Williams had to take the risk in front of the studios and the cast and our powers that be in his very first movie and say respectfully, humbly, guys, if we talk about anything else, I have no credibility and I have no pull. But we talking about comedy, right, where I have all the credibility and all the pull. The problem with Friday After Next is we're trying to make a classic comedy. And this comedy involves and it's never funny, no matter who it happens to or what the circumstances are. If you would allow me to allow us to do this movie without a black man getting in it, I promise you that it will be twice as funny as it would be with him getting. So considering that's the real story, why would you bring up that story? For a 5-year period, every single movie that Kevin Hart did was a movie that had been on my desk. That all I had said was just, can we take some of this step and fetches out? And then I can do it. Like, it don't need to be overtly homosexual, because I'm not homosexual, right? It doesn't need that to be funny, right? And me saying that and them going, oh yeah, no problem. And then going to give it to this other guy and having him do it just like it was. And acting like I'm a bad person because I keep standing on my standard. But, yeah, it's interesting, but I wouldn't change it.
And that's when things took a darker turn. Because once Katt Williams made those claims, people didn't just listen. They started looking closer at Kevin Hart. Old clips, old appearances, old connections. And suddenly, details that once felt random started getting a second look. One of them, a private party hosted by Sean Combs in a New York hotel back in 2010. At the time, it didn't raise many questions. But now, with recent claims and court discussions, including statements linked to Cassie Ventura about events happening in similar settings, people began connecting dots. Because the setting felt familiar, the timing interesting, and then those old clips resurfaced. Comments that sounded strange, moments that felt out of place, things that might have been ignored before, now being replayed, re-examined, and questioned. And here's where it gets complicated, because none of this proves anything on its own. But when multiple pieces start pointing in the same direction, people don't ignore it. They start asking questions. And once those questions begin, they don't stop easily.
Right here from day one, we used to wake up and, damn, pause, but like just back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the frosted flakes, you know what I'm saying? Before.
And that's why people started feeling uncomfortable. Because this wasn't happening in isolation. There had already been rumors surrounding Sean Combs, stories that had been circulating for years. Quietly, in the background. And then, clips involving Usher started getting attention again. Interviews where he spoke about his time around that environment, describing things that, at the time, he didn't fully understand, but clearly remembered. Moments that felt unusual. Experiences he later made it clear he wouldn't want his own children around. And that's what made people pause. Because when someone looks back at a situation like that and draws a line that's strong, it changes how everything before it is viewed. Suddenly, old stories don't feel so distant. They feel connected. And once again, people weren't just watching clips anymore. They were trying to understand what might have been happening behind them.
To New York City. And I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp?
Yeah,
Flavor
that's
Camp.
what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
in the 90s. Do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and...
Had a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So you send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
And then people went back to that same night. That party. The one Kevin Hart was hosting. Because another clip from that event started circulating again. And this one felt different. More uncomfortable. In the footage, a moment unfolds where someone suddenly catches fire. Panic. Confusion. But what stood out wasn't just what happened. It was the response. Or the lack of it. Instead of immediate action, the scene feels delayed. People watching. Cameras still rolling. And right there, close to it all, Kevin. Present. visible, but not reacting the way you'd expect in a moment like that. And that's what people focused on. Not just the incident itself, but how it was handled. Because moments like that, they don't just get forgotten. They get replayed, analyzed, questioned. And when they resurface alongside everything else, they don't feel isolated anymore. They start to feel connected.
Doing what I do best. Did the camera catch that? Got the camera.
And then came a moment people couldn't ignore. When Kevin Hart was approached by paparazzi and asked a direct question about that same night, that same party. A simple opportunity to shut everything down. All he had to do was say no, but he didn't. He didn't say yes either. Instead, he stepped around it, calling it the wrong question, shifting the focus, avoiding a direct answer. And that's what caught attention. Because when the question is simple, but the answer isn't, people notice. They replay it. They analyze it. Because sometimes, what's not said stands out more than what is. And in a moment like that, silence doesn't feel neutral. It feels intentional.
Hey, Kevin, when you hosted for Diddy, did you catch any baby oil?
When I hosted for Diddy?
Yeah. Nah?
You asking the wrong person the wrong question. What's a good question?
Do you think he's safe in jail?
Wrong person, wrong question.
But here's where people really started paying attention. Because this wasn't just one moment. It was a pattern. Before this, Kevin Hart had already been asked about Sean Combs multiple times. And almost every time, the reaction felt the same. Not direct. Not clear. Either he brushed it off, or avoided it completely. Like the question itself was something he didn't want to engage with. And then came another moment, when he was approached about something completely unrelated, his business, his restaurants. No hesitation. No discomfort. He answered freely. But the second the conversation shifted, back to Diddy, everything changed. The tone, the energy, even his expression. From relaxed to guarded, from open to closed. And just like that, the conversation ended. Because instead of answering, he left. And that's what people picked up on. Not just what he said, but how quickly things changed when certain topics came up. Because when the reaction repeats itself like that, it stops looking random and starts to feel like something he's trying not to step into.
Okay, what about Diddy? What about Diddy? Can you talk about Diddy? What happened with Bieber and Justin and Diddy?
And then another clip surfaced. This time from an interview with Mark Wahlberg. At first, it felt normal. Until one name came up. Sean Combs. And that's when things shifted. Because Mark didn't hesitate. He brought it up casually, like it was just another topic. But Kevin? He reacted instantly. Cutting it off. Shutting it down. Trying to move past it before it could go any further. And the timing of that reaction, that's what stood out. Because it didn't feel random. It felt urgent. Almost like whatever was about to be said wasn't supposed to be said at all. And moments like that, they don't need explanation. They create their own questions.
More to die in that beard than Diddy wear.
All right, that's enough.
I know.
That's enough.
I seen him. He shows me behind the curtain.
That's enough. All right, I'm gonna edit this out.
But still,
Put a
note on it. You can edit.
And while all of this was unfolding, Eddie Murphy stayed out of it. At least for a while. Because he had history with both sides. Respect from Katt Williams. Connection with Kevin Hart. So, for the most part, he kept his distance. But then something shifted. Not a rumor. Not a theory. A claim. Kevin publicly said he had broken Eddie's box office record. And, just like that, it wasn't background noise anymore. It was direct. Because this wasn't the first time Kevin had made that kind of move. And this time, it reached someone who wasn't going to ignore it. Eddie responded. Calm. Measured. But clear. Saying his record had been standing for decades and hadn't been touched. No emotion. No back and forth. Just a correction. And sometimes, that kind of response says more than anything else. Because it doesn't escalate. It shuts things down. And in a situation like this, that line matters.
It brings me to this thing that happened not too long ago where Kevin Hart broke your stand-up box office record.
What record did he break?
He said he broke some record of your box office sales and for stand-up.
I don't know. Where'd he break? I know by Raw is still the #1 box office concert movie in history, so I don't know what records nobody broke, Kevin.
Yeah, I broke Eddie's record.
I ain't been on stage in 27 years. They still trying to break my records. God bless y'all.
When are we, or are we ever going to see you on stage again doing stand-up?
I'm going to do it again because I got to break Kevin's new record. I got to get back on the stage because this new record that Kevin got, I got to have it back, Kevin. You ain't keeping this record, whatever one it is, I got to have it back.
And maybe that's why Eddie Murphy stayed quiet for so long. Because according to some reports, he's already seen how this plays out. Behind the scenes, it said he even warned Katt Williams to stop. Not because he was wrong, but because it might not matter. Because if the system really works the way people believe it does, then this isn't a fight you win. It's a fight you survive. And maybe that's the part people don't talk about. Because if what Katt is saying is even partially true, then this story isn't about comedy anymore. It's about control. It's about who rises and who gets left behind. Because we've seen this before. One voice fades out, another takes its place. Not louder, just more acceptable. And maybe that's why moments like that handshake felt the way they did. Too clean. Too perfect. Like something had already been decided long before we ever saw it. So now the question isn't just about Kevin, or Katt, or even Eddie. It's bigger than that. Did we just watch a rivalry play out? Or something being managed right in front of us? Because in a world where everything looks real, the truth usually isn't the part you're meant to see.